Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Griggs, coming to you on the 19th of January 2021. Time on deck, 20:47 hours Central Standard Time, which would be 02:47 now, Zulu time. Of course, in Zulu time, it's the 20th already. We're just hours away from a very, very monumental inauguration like none we've ever seen in this country. The tensions in our nation are off the charts and appear to be getting worse. And I'll show you why I expect them to continue to even get even worse. If you think 2020 was a bad year, it looks like 2021 is starting out a whole lot worse. So we got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. I'm bringing you this video in my eyes wide open and head on the swivel series because you need to know what's coming, because it is a proposition, this challenge, to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And right now, all three are at risk. And is tomorrow Doomsday? Well, some may think so. We're going to talk about that. I don't think it's quite Doomsday, but it may be the beginning of some really, really, really treacherous times. And tomorrow, you need to lay low if you at all can, because there's a lot of things that may go blow. All right. So talking about these tensions, you need to get ready. You just need to be prepared, because this year is going to bring a lot of stuff at us, a lot of stuff, it looks like, from many directions. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, my friends, like I said, I do have videos on my channel about how to eat from the weeds and trees, which is free. It's a skill you're going to need to know if you go out and maneuver to get away on your bug outs, or if you're just trying to survive. I'll do more videos along that line or vein in the future. Bug out videos. I'll do videos on, maybe some bushcraft videos. I've got a lot more stuff I'll be bringing. Gardening videos. I do gardening videos. Aquaponics, worm farming. I'll bring all those videos back. You'll see stuff on that. So, and you'll see more of this, what's going on in the world. So you can keep your eyes wide open and head on swivel. That's why you need to subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click all if you're not already done so. And support my channel and support yourself to help you get ready to have special deals. Go to prepwithgreg.com and you can get this very lightweight, freeze-dried food with 20% off. If you get the 2-bucket special for a month, 4 weeks food supply for an individual, you get 2,000 calories a day, and that's a little better than 20% off if you're getting the 2 buckets. So that's an excellent deal. This stuff is lightweight. You can reuse this bucket. You can even take the pouches out and put them in your backpack. Makes them easy to carry for bugging out. Well, these are easy to carry. If you get the single bucket, it's for 2 weeks supply. It's just a little bit less than 20% off, so 20% is average. But hey, there's all kind of good stuff there. Click on the My Patriot Supply logo, and it takes you all into many other prep and supplies. Again, go to prepwithgreg.com. It's where you find that special 20% off. Prepwithgreg.com helps me, helps you, and helps you get through all the things to come, so you don't go hungry. All righty, my friends. I'm gonna share some. I'm gonna share some PowerPoint here. So we're going to go into this and look at what's coming. Hours away from Doomsday. Well, where do I get that? Well, I get this from the great oracle. Let me expand this. This comes from the great oracle, the Simpsons. They have been so prophetic, right? Let's hope they missed this one. Holy smoke. This is the vision of the Simpsons for the 20th of January. It may already be the 20th of January when you're watching this. Well, the day may not be over yet either, right? Excuse me. Now, there's the picture of it. Let's see, I lost an ad that put in here. Okay, so this comes from their one of their specials. I think they put up the last Treehouse of Horrors that they put out last Halloween. I'm trying to say Thanksgiving. Halloween. Turns out these robots have the presidential seal on them, so maybe it matters how you vote. Some people think not. Maybe that's part of the consternation here. But anyway, so Homer is supposedly getting ready for it. Well, he's at least on his roof. Yeah, looks like the only house standing. So the news that a lot of you hopefully know by now is that President Trump has given a farewell speech. A lot of people had thought that President Trump was going to do something, pull a coup over, that he would do something in the last minute to maintain and have another term. Some people said he had all the evidence to make that happen, all the evidence that things did not go as reported, that he had the people lined up that we could have made all this happen. But what would a mess would it have been? But then again, it's probably going to be a mess either way we slice it. Just maybe he don't have to deal with it. I don't know. I don't know. But he is apparently, he's giving pardons. He's doing everything it makes it look like he's saying bye-bye. Some people think he's not still. So we shall see really soon if tomorrow's going to look like this or this, with somebody getting sworn in after that. So how did this all get started? Well, it all started even when he was running for president last time, I guess, or even before. It's really not about Trump. It's about visions for America from the left and the right, where each thinks the country ought to go. And the people on the left think social justice has not been served well. The people on the right think the state has gotten too big. So they refer to it as the deep state. So however you want to interpret that, some people say, the deep state, that's conspiracy theory. That's not real. Well, you can talk about it as a really big state, a state where people are quite entrenched in bureaucracies that may or may not serve their functions now. And, you know, I've talked about how power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he has got to go, makes the rule. Yeah, once a bureaucracy is created, it seems to live forever. It metastasizes. Sometimes, you know, that is one level of deep state. We can talk more about that in the future. But there's two different visions for America, and our country is pretty much evenly divided. So when one side gets a hand over the other, it doesn't mean you have a clear mandate. That's the division in this country. And both sides are fever pitched on this division, as you can see by the events that have gone down this year. On the left here, this is what was happening in summertime. Oops. Yeah, it's going backwards, excuse me. This is what happened in the summertime. And but we're told with Maxine Waters that, and some others, that this was okay. This is perfectly normal. They just needed to be recognized. And some of these guys did this because they needed some loaves of bread. Okay. I guess those loaves weren't baked yet, and they had to get it a little hot to get that loaf baked. Or maybe this bus was just in the way of the bakery. Well, I don't know. And on the right side, well, let me say both sides. There were a lot of people who went to both these protests peaceably, but there were enough that were not peaceful that caused a lot of problems. Now, unfortunately, each side of the aisle seems to paint things a certain way, and the people on the left side of the aisle have got the upper hand now, and they're painting what went on over here on the left is perfectly normal, but what went over here on the right is far from it. And so they want to paint even the attendees of this event who just stood around outside and held flags and and did nothing, the same as the guys that went into buildings. Now, that's a very divergent thing, and that's not fair to anybody. So there's a lot to be talked about with these things in the future, but we've got a lot of dichotomy here, a lot of divergence of where people stand and what they think, and that's an issue. Let me minimize my little screen here. I don't need to see me right now. So, but we're going to talk more about this division. This division is not going away. We'll get more to it. But what happened after this? See, when all this was going on, social media was fine with it, and they didn't have any issue with that at all. People that were standing with the head of Trump in one hand and a sword in the other, and fake, other stuff that looked nasty. I guess that was not so bad, according to them. But what happened over here was different. So much so that people started getting deplatformed. Really on one side of the spectrum for the most part. Deplatformed. In fact, platforms were taken down. People, there were a lot of censorship. Now, a lot of these companies are reportedly private companies. And a lot of people say they have the right to do that because they're private companies. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to say it's one way or the other. And while I'm on these platforms, I will do my best to abide by the rules of the platform. I'll leave it to the lawyers to wrestled over that, and as the lawyers should. But I do have some extensive legal writings from a lawyer friend of mine who claims that due to the deals made by these companies and the way they operate with the government, that they are in fact operating as a public agency and a monopoly in many respects. But he goes in great detail of how he claims they're violating federal code. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, so you well, let the lawyers figure that one out. I've had a lot of people who weren't lawyers try to weigh in on that conversation, but at least this particular individual is been quite a notable lawyer. He's actually appeared on Good Morning America. So, of course, that don't make somebody the final voice on things, but he definitely has an informed voice. So I find it interesting. So the point of me saying that is the debate is out there. It's still in debate space, okay? But it further portrays the division in this country. But moreover, capping people's speech is just going to make matters worse. It's making people madder. The more stuff they do like this to contain things, the worse they make it, because what you're doing is you're putting a cap on the pressure cooker and you're making it cook and boil harder. And what happens to the pressure cooker when it's capped? It goes boom. What's happening right now? Washington, D.C., downtown is on lockdown. Huge lockdown. You see all these red streets? These are streets of restriction. All the little red circles are checkpoints. This whole area is like more secure than the military base I worked on. We have MyCom, where I work, when we're allowed to work from the office, that is. We have MyCom and Aviation Command at the Army base where I work at Stone Arsenal. We'll be getting Space Command there if the world keeps spinning. World keeps spinning. I don't know if we're going to be on it or not. Something to talk about here. Okay. Yeah, huge lockdown. Lockdown like we've never seen before. Yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute. Crazy. I mean, guys, anyway, you know what? There are 25,000 troops, National Guard soldiers on the ground around D.C. That's more than twice the number that we had during the war between the states. I'll go more into that in a minute. So, but there are things happening. There was some IED devices, a pipe bomb or something found. They can't find the bomb maker. Maybe they found them by now. Well, look at this, 11,000 troops. That was the height of pretty much of what you had in the war between the states there. Yeah, they built garrisons and bunkers, thought they would put more people there, but they needed them in the field, so they never did had any more than that. So today with today when they're worried about supposedly some groups or small numbers perhaps of people that would come in and cause harm, we've got a force twice as big as they had back in the day when they were worried about a full-fledged army led by General Robert E. Lee storming the Capitol. Beauregard earlier. Beauregard routed the people in the first engagement between those forces at the Battle of Bull Run, or Manzas. So think about that, guys. Just think about it. So what we're looking at here is an enormous troop presence. Why so much? Why is it so thick? Some people think it's because something else was happening. Some people are expecting maybe something from the outside is going to cause trouble, or maybe it's a trap. There's been all kinds of discussions like that. I'm not thinking that. I think it's just this is a reflection of how much the current party in power fears the public. Maybe I'm wrong, but they even fear the guards. They're even fearing their guards. Look at this. Representative Cohen says, hey, somebody in the National Guard might do something to Biden or some other Democrats. And before that, other people were worried that Trump would try to stage a coup. So these things I've been talking about where people were thinking that maybe Trump would try to do something lately, it's not new news. And it's not news that's just shared in secret on the side of people that followed some individual who's represented by a letter that looks like a zero with a squiggly tail. Nope, it predates that. Look, this is the Atlantic speculating on it back in December. And here's the Guardian. Can Trump actually stage a coup and stay in office for a second term? Well, I've heard people say he had what he needed to stage it, but could he have held it? Yeah, this is what the Russians were saying. They were talking about their attempts, the ones that failed and succeeded. Just back in November. So a lot of people were speculating about this, even overseas. But I think I pointed out in the previous video, that the followers of the man with a or group or whatever it was with a squiggly tail had a tail to tell. 2 or 3, I think it said 300 generals, and it had to been active duty to made this whole thing work, that were invited him to run for office and support him all the way through, and we're going to ensure that he stayed in office no matter what, because he supposedly the tabulators are wrong, if you know what I mean. I'm trying not to step on the wrong words here, but you know, look, the total number of generals: 231 Army generals, 62 Marine Corps, 198 in the Air Force, 162 in the Navy. And I assume those are actually admirals, at least the ones at the top. So it gives you what, about 653. You'd have to have over half that if you wanted to maintain upper hand in the military. But what would you have? You would have a civil war within the military itself if it wasn't far better than that, or in a very select position then or something. But bear in mind, President Obama replaced most of the field grade officers. Field grade officers are colonel and above, with people that are aligned to his way of thinking, as you find is the case with General Mark Miley. He is very much in line with that way of thinking, and he was not at all going to go along with anything like this. And he said so very directly, and more than once and repeatedly. And had been in discussions with Pelosi, although some of those didn't go to her way either. He's pretty much a man of his own. But the military is pretty much committed to being non-political. Oh, they are, absolutely. They follow the Hatch Act. We're going to go into that more here in a minute. But look at this. These are stark pictures. A lot of troop presence. Now, hey, the troops look good. They really do. They're in uniform. They're sharp. And the Capitol's beautiful. But the thing that's missing in this picture, the thing that's really, you know, it disturbs me to see so many troops in the nation's capital. But what is even more disturbing to me is there's no mamas and kiddies and daddies and grandpas and aunts and uncles and grandmas running around out there. It's, you know, it's just soldiers. There's no people, no citizens enjoying their capital, able to share it before a momentous event. That is very disturbing. This is what you find on the Capitol today. They're running down to get in the subway. Well, maybe run down some of these steps, but yeah, that's far enough from the Capitol. There's a lot of subways around there. I'm thinking it's going down to the subway station, especially by the railings here on the side. That's pretty close to the Capitol, though. Maybe it could be going underneath too. But that seems to be going the other direction. And so look here. Beautiful monuments. Beautiful, beautiful monuments. We find in D.C., right, the Capitol, the White House, the entire mall around the D.C., all the way up and down Independence and Constitution Avenues, beautiful rows of monuments. Beautiful city, a city that stands for greatness, one great nation. Can we maintain that? Are we one nation anymore? Have we lost our greatness? Are these monuments like gravestones, monuments to our past? Can he speak to our future? Well, that depends on what happens next, how this country goes. But the kind of division we got, that's very problematic. Again, beautiful monument. And here's the people, not the citizens, but the soldiers. Who are citizens too. So here, at one point, the Pentagon was fearing an inside attack. Now the Pentagon's come around since then and said, "Oh, we vetted our troops; they're good." The fact they'd have to have the FBI vetting them, that's a bit concerning. But there were some problems found. Oh yeah, there's some more stuff with what would Trump do? Kid Trump do it? Far-right extremists have reportedly discussed posing as National Guard members. So here's the other threat. Maybe some people would sneak in and posed as the National Guard figure. Well, they wouldn't get in the formations and the units, that's for sure. They might be able to like casually walking around, but you can't be a lot of them. They can't form a unit. So the amount of damage they could wreak would be somewhat limited. Also, the National Guard troops would be on them really fast, like chickens on a June bug. So I don't see how anybody could possibly think they could go in there with so many troops and get away with anything of consequence. Well, there could be ways, but they would pay a heavy price for it. There were a couple guardsmen removed, and I've heard about 10 more since, maybe a total of 12. But I think there were just 2 that was really more questionable than the others, supposedly ties to militia groups. But, look, out of 25,000, that's not bad. Bear in mind, too, like I said, there's something called the Hatch Act that says anybody working for the federal government as a federal employee, which they would apply to the guards when they're under federal pay, and federalized, activated as they are right now, that you're under the Hatch Act, which means you cannot take part in any political discussion. You can't be on any side politically. Politics is off the table. You don't talk it. And most of these people are trained professionals. And while they're doing their job, they're going to be professional. And they're not going to discuss such matters. They may have opinions outside the job, but not on the job. That's, that's a discipline. Now, some people are challenged a little bit for that as individuals, but for the most part, I would say 99% are going to follow that. Pretty true. And some people have gotten angry with Cohen for suggesting otherwise. You can see he's under attack by Representative Michael Waltz from Florida and a few others for making such suggestions. Even Texas Governor Abbott, who got very offended, and he says, no one should ever question the loyalty or professionalism of the Texas National Guard. And he further said, hey, I sent 10,000 soldiers to Washington, D.C. Don't ask for any more again if you're going to treat my guys like this. So some people take great offense at that. Yeah. Of course, what did Cohen, he had suggested that, hey, you don't know who to question, just draw a circle around all the ones that's Trump supporters. And he's trying to say that most of the guard, leans a little bit to the right, especially since they're mostly male. But that's painting things with a broad stroke. And that's where some people got aggravated. They said, hey, this is equivalent to being like a form of racism somewhere in one of these articles. I don't think I've got the headline here. But the allegations about what that means have been, whoop, I went too far, bit off the charts. It makes a lot of people angry that was said. So for the most part, I don't think you got to worry too much about the National Guard up there. But this is what I worry about. This is our Lady Liberty standing on top of the Capitol building. She used to face out to the ocean, but now she's been turned to face the country. But this is what she has to look through. And this is what we have to look through to see the Capitol. That's a very disturbing image. 2 gates, left and right, kind of like our country, blocking us from freedom, life, and liberty, pursuit of happiness, being what we can be, a nation divided and on lockdown, or maybe more lockdown coming for other reasons. This picture is a very sad statement, indictment of our country, where we're at right now. So let's let that soak in. That's not a sign of freedom. That's a sign of bondage. And that's not where we want to go. So I hope we can find our way out of that. But it's really sad when the powers that be, the politicians running things, have to be afraid not only of the public, but their very guards. They're afraid of the guards and the public too, apparently. So where can all this lead? Well, as I mentioned, these tensions aren't going away. Now, you do see a Trump flag here, but there is, of course, that's the Alamo back there. Y'all might know that. Alamo was not a ginormous mission. It was a kind of a small mission, but ginormous events happened there that formed the Republic of Texas, which later joined the United States as the state of Texas. Some of its territory went into other states, as much as there's still left in the state of Texas. So Texas has a initiative underway right now called Texit, which are thinking about leaving the Union. And the people promoting Texit will tell you in a heartbeat it has nothing to do with the recent election. They had some longer grinding beefs with the way things are done in Washington, D.C. And we'll say that Washington, D.C. and its activities do not represent the people, the choices, and the way of life of Texans that they want out. Well, we'll see. Most Texans agree with that or not, maybe we'll see. But it don't help when you get people threatening to liberate the South. What does that mean? And AOC made that statement recently. And so a lot of states may be encouraged to want to join Texas for that and other reasons, particularly when people come after bang bangs, if you know what I mean. That may be the biggest tension that may come up in the near term. And there'll be lockdowns and other things. So there is a group, though, that has a person who's been elected to a local office, a constable, which, that's not a, this makes it sound like they've totally taken over governments, and that's far from that. But Oath Keepers do have some active duty, apparently military, mainly law enforcement officers in it. So what are the Oath Keepers? Well, there are people who claim that they swear allegiance to the Constitution, and that's their main claim of fame. Hey, we swear allegiance to maintain the oath we took. And by itself, I would celebrate that. Now, if they have other agenda, then that would be something of interest, maybe. So I don't know. I'm not a member of the Oath Keepers. Sounds interesting. According to this Wikipedia, it says they are far right, anti-government, and militia organization. Well, maybe militia. How far right they are, I don't know. Are they anti-government? Does supporting the Constitution make you far right? What's the parameters there for making these judgment calls? I don't know. Anti-government, well, they're not anti-Constitution, and the Constitution is the basis of the government. So maybe they're anti-grafting government. I don't know. Anti-growth, anti-deep state. So it says the group describes itself as a non-partisan association, which is what you would expect if you're just trying to keep your oath to the Constitution. It's got police, it says current and former military, police, first responders, and all that such stuff. So I don't know. Not a member, so I can't judge it. But is this where we're going? A broken country? Is this Humpty Dumpty's eggshell breaking? Do we have anything more than the king's horses with their big hooves trying to put the eggshell back together? Yeah, that's not going to work. But this may be where we're heading. Who's the biggest, fastest growing power in the world who would really take advantage of us? And they may, according to some, may be more favorable to the side on the left. There may be more connections. They certainly don't like the way Trump stepped upon them. Trump trumped upon them, but maybe they needed it. Trump was definitely trying to contain their growth, and I'm highly concerned about them, especially the way they treat the Uyghurs and other people, Tibetans, Uyghurs, the Inner Mongolians. This is what I worry about, that we're heading here. And I've even wondered, and am inclined to think, that since the dragon is the symbol of this nation, and since their color is red, maybe they are the red dragon. The red dragon, maybe of even revelations. They're definitely getting their tentacles around the world, and they definitely may be heading that way. That's what I'm worried about. So stop this year. There I am. All right. So where are we going as a nation? Tensions on the left and on the right are both blown out of sight. They're simmering. When you think we might be trying to do things, elections over to make peace, what really bothers me is the other side, who's now got the power, instead of reaching out with the olive branch, is attacking the other side. They're wanting to go after them. Forgetting there's like 74 million people voted for Mr. T. 74 million people. That's a lot. And there are even some that claim that, hey, they'll go after everyone that put a sign in their front yard. Anyone that donated to the campaign, oh yeah, they can lick you up completely, even where you live, with a map. It's all out there. And some of them go, yeah, we're going to go around. We're going to find them. We're going to. Well, you might say, oh, that'll never happen. If they're far left, if they're really in the Saul Alinsky League, follow the Weather Underground, if they're really over there, which it looks like where they're heading, a lot of people are thinking this. What has the left done, the far left in every country when they've taken over? If they went communist, I'm saying if. Well, they turn around and eliminate large portions of their population. Stalin took 20 million, Mao Zedong took 80 million, Pol Pot took a third of his countrymen. They exist no more. So if you're in opposition, if you might be of opposition, if you're somebody who might become an opposition, they consider you a threat, bang, you're gone. You know, fit their one party regime, bang, you're gone. And even though you might have pulled for this, when you suddenly realize it's your aunts and your uncles and other loved ones that are going bye-bye, you might really wonder what you supported. Let's hope it don't go to that point. Let's hope it's not that far over. But there are elements within that clique that are far left you got to wonder about. No, I don't like the far right. If you're I don't mind conservatism. What I do mind is racism. I got no part. I want no part of that. Racism, all that stuff is awful. Fascism and communism are both pretty much just flip sides of the same coin. They're totalitarian systems. We need neither. And sometimes one might slip into the other, and you might not even realize it. I would submit, and it's my opinion, that the CCP has done a transition, if you know what I mean. But I've covered that a bit in other videos. It's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is we are in rough times coming ahead. The divisions are still there, and nothing is being done as of yet to truly heal them, to bind the wounds. We're still chopping. So, yeah, get ready. Get ready. Maybe those attitudes will change. Maybe those chopping will be told that their rhetoric is a little bit out of line. You need to calm down. Or maybe, well, better yet, just quit listening to them. Quit putting them on the stump. Don't give them the platform. I don't mean the deplatform. Just don't listen to them. I believe in freedom of speech. Everybody should have freedom of speech, and we should be able to work our ideas out in public discourse, debating, and appealing to people's hearts and minds, not, you know, beating our ways there. I do believe in peace. I believe in the rights of our Constitution. We have the right, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and other freedoms that help us maintain those freedoms, many other freedoms. I hope we can maintain that and maintain our peace and prosperity, but we may lose it all. We may lose it all. Hope not. But in order to maintain and restore freedoms lost, I've started the Freedom Restoration Foundation. Freedom Restoration Foundation. You can write me at info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org and put freedom in the subject line to join our organization. And if you, we do have a group on Facebook so far. Considering what things going on, don't know how long that'll last. And we have a MeWe page too. So you can check us out there. But getting on the Facebook site don't mean we're going to be able to maintain you. So you really need to email us. If that goes down, we'll lose all those contacts. So we're going to be looking for sanctuary states and things like that to preserve our freedoms constitutionally. Constitutional sanctuary states. That's one of the things we're going to be pushing. And we'll be looking at other things to tackle the national legislative line and local legislative lines. We have people in different parts of the country. We've got a chapter in Arizona, for example, and we're looking at both state and federal laws and the pursuit of working those things. Now, I've had good success doing those kind of things in the National Space Society. I chaired the policy committee for 10 years and had some really spectacular successes. So I know we can do it. So, and let's hope this works out. It's you know, alternatively, the picture is not beautiful. So I hope we don't have to go. I hope it don't go there. But yeah, this year, all bets are off. Get ready. That's the fallback. You get ready to take care of yourself and your family. Well, that said, I want to wish everyone I hope we have a safe inauguration day. And I just wish you and all your friends and family the best. Take care and have an awesome week. Bye.